Hello everyone, you are welcome to another video. In today's video, we want to talk about data validation in Microsoft Excel. So the data validation technique in Microsoft Excel allows you to restrict the type of data or the type of value that can be entered into a cell. When we come to the spreadsheet, an empty spreadsheet this way, you can apply data validation to a single cell, or you can apply towards an entire column. So if, for instance, we want to apply the data validation to cell H2, okay, you can see this in the address box, H2. You come to the data ribbon, and on the data ribbon you go to the data tools, and then in the data tools, within the data tools, you get the data validation. So in the data validation, there are lists of rules, okay, that you can use to limit the type of data that can be entered in a cell. So if I click this, for instance, we'll come over to the data validation. You have settings, you have input message, you have error alert. So within the setting, there are criteria that can be used to restrict the data. When you come to this drop down menu here, you see a lot of criteria: whole number, decimal number, list, the date, the time, text length, and custom. So the whole number restricts the cell to accept only whole numbers. The decimal criteria restrict the cells or the cell to accept only decimal number. The lists restrict the cell to accept items that are in a list. And then the dates also restrict it to accept only dates. The time restricts the cell to accept only time. The text length restricts the cell to accept only the length that is the length criteria, okay, the length of the character that has been defined already. So defined by you as the user, and then you can also customize your own criteria. So let's go with we'll simply pick the whole number, the list, and the text. So for the whole number, within the whole number criteria, you can have sub criteria, which is between, okay, so the value should be between what and what value, not between what and what value, equal to this value, or not equal to that value, greater than what value, less than what value, greater than or equal to what value. You see, so these are the sub criteria that you can apply to the whole number. So in this case, I want to use between. So within the between, I will define a minimum value and also the maximum value. So I want the minimum value to be, for instance, 4, and then I want the maximum value to be 10. So I click on OK. If I click on OK, remember the minimum value is 4 and the maximum value is 10. So if I come here and I click 17, can you see it raised an error? The error is this value doesn't match the data validation restrictions defined for this cell. So the best way to undo that is to simply put in the value that is between 4 and 10. So if we say, for instance, 6 is between, and then I click on enter, can you see it has gone? Then there is another thing you would want to take notes of when you come to the data validation box. You will discover this blue check mark here, which says ignore blanks. Ignore blank. So what that means is anytime the cell is blank, for whatever reason, it should be ignored. It should not raise an error. That is what it means when you check this. It should not raise an error if for whatever reason the cell is blank. But if you uncheck this and then you click OK, it is going to raise an error if there is no data in it. So if I click on enter, can you see? So the error has been raised. Why? Because we unchecked the ignore blank. So when we come over, we'll check out the list. So within the list, there is you need to have an already defined list, okay, with which you use to impute as the criteria in that column or in that cell. Now before I go down here, I want to, let's say I'm working on gender, okay, gender column for instance. Okay, so then I come down here and I put something like male, and then I put female. Okay, so this is the list. Okay, this is a list of gender. Okay, I'm going to try to make a video on the difference between list and table. Okay, differences between list and table in Excel. So this is a list of gender. Now I want to define this particular column to only accept male and female. To only accept male and female, nothing more, nothing less. So I'll come over to the data validation tool, and then I'll go to the list. Within the list, of course, you have to check the ignore blank, and then you also have to check the in cell drop down. So you get the source. What is the source? Male and female. You click, and then you click OK. Can you see that now? So I can come here and then I'll write male. It will not raise an error. I can even write it in small letter. It's not raise an error. But the moment I write something like boy, can you see the error? So this value doesn't match the data validation restriction defined for this time. So you can really see the importance of data validation. It helps you to define the integrity of data. Okay, it confirms data integrity, making sure that you don't go out of the line to give your data that sense of value, if I may use that word. So that is for the list. Then we want to talk about the text. Okay, the text. So the text length has to do with the length of the character. So we want to get the text length. The text length should be between, okay, should be between 1 to, let's say, 10 and 10, yeah. Okay, and then I click on OK. So if I write psalmists, the analyst. Okay, so this is, let's count it together. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Okay, so I click on this. Can you see it raised an error? Okay, because it is more than 10. But then if I write psalmist only, can you see there is no error that is raised? So let's go back to the data validation. Then we'll come to the impute message. So the impute message tab actually helps you to impute a message whenever cell is selected. Okay, whenever a cell is selected. So what is that input message that you always see around the cell whenever that particular cell is selected? So you can, let's say for instance we are working on gender one still, so we'll put the title as gender, and then the input message should be this maybe let's say column or cell first should contain gender types, and then you click on OK. So can you see the input message? So whenever this particular cell is selected, this will be the input message. It will not work for other ones, but whenever it is selected, can you see that? So this cell is cell G4. Okay, anytime G4 is selected, you must see the input message. So that is how the input message works. Okay, you can also apply it in this gender too, and in any other data. So we want to talk about the error alert. So in the error alert, it allows you to show an error, okay, whenever invalid data is entered. So there are several error alerts that are available. You have the stop, you have the warning, you have the information. Okay, so depending on your choice, so let's go with warning. So what should be the title? What should be the title of the error alert? So it should be invalid. I'll choose invalid. Okay, before that, let me just cancel it in a way. I will apply it to the entire column. So let's go for warning. So I'll say invalid gender type. So what is the error message? This is an invalid gender type. Okay, so I'll click on OK. Now let's say I come over here and I write boy once again. Click on. Can you see? So you can see the title of the error alert, invalid gender type. And then what is the message? This is an invalid gender type. So that is how it works. So you have to make sure that it is what has been defined already in the cell or in the column that stands. Now within the data validation, you have the circle invalid data. So you have the possibility of circling invalid data. Okay, so you can see we use this circle invalid data to apply it on this particular column, and within this particular column, the invalid data is the gender. Okay, remember the valid data that is supposed to be in this column should be male and female, but because the gender seemed to be the title, so that was why it was circled. It was circled, okay, in red. So it becomes obvious that gender is an invalid data. So the next thing we want to look at is to clear validation circles. So if you want to clear the validation circle, you can click there. Once you click there, you'll see that the circle is gone. So that is all about the data validation tool in Microsoft Excel. It is a very wonderful technique. It helps to ensure the integrity of your data, especially in entering data. Whenever you are entering data, you want to make sure that every column, okay, represents the data that is entered into every column is actually what are supposed to be entered into those columns. Okay, so that is how data validation works. Please do well to subscribe to my channel, like and share the videos, like and share, and on your notification tab, so that as I upload more videos you are able to get access to them. See you next video.